Welcome back. Just before we get into the security situation in parts of the country, I think it's also important to learn from others and see what is happening in other climes, the possibilities here if we're not careful, because these are some of the things we take for granted. Well, some will say Nigeria is at war in this part of the country when you have soldiers being killed, you have scores of people being killed, but we do not want to see war. Time and again we've said it, we do not want to see war, but we have to be careful. We have to take the right steps, particularly as a government, because government has the monopoly of force in that sense. I mean, government is responsible for security, and I'm talking at the federal level, which holds a huge chunk of that power, the states, the subnationals in that sense. And, you know, this is part of my experience visiting Ukraine. I'd like to show you. I took a seat in one of the cities in Ukraine, which is at war. I just took a seat to take a breather on this cold day. Just try to take a seat, and if we could just put that up for you. And while taking that seat, I was approached by two children, young children, and you know what they were doing? They were asking me for money to eat, and you know, these are children that should be in school. These are children that should be in a playground. But these are children that are left to fend for themselves. I couldn't speak the language, so I couldn't engage them to find out what was going on, why they had to resort to begging. But of course, the answer was staring me in the face. The country is at war. I couldn't ask about their parents. Men between the ages of, I think, is it 18 and 60, you can't leave the country, right? Because you're meant to stay back and to fight, except for, you know, very extreme cases. Either you're a single parent or you're a legal resident outside of the country or all of that. But these men are not allowed to leave the country. So you have a lot of children who have lost their fathers. I mean, some women also fight in the war as well, who have lost their mothers, who have lost, family members as a result of this. So they are left to fend for themselves. So it was a sad one for me. I had to tell them, I'm sorry, I can't give you, because I really didn't understand as much. I wanted to converse with them. But if we're not careful, this may be a possibility for us as a nation. But right now, we have all of the time in the world in that sense to still do things differently so we don't end up in war. Yeah, I hope we have put up that video because that's what I was talking about all this while, so you can see that experience that I had in Ukraine. But there you have it. So that's the children, Jeffrey Bukola, coming up to me, young children, just asking me for money. I was trying to speak to them. I was trying to appeal that I really don't understand, but I knew what they were asking for. But it was a heartbreaking moment for me, Jeffrey.
Very heartbreaking. Heartbreaking to see. It's difficult for me. You may not wear the best of clothes or live in the best of houses, but when it comes to food, it's non-negotiable at the end of the day. So it's very heartbreaking to see. This is what we see literally every time in our country. And that's why we're advising and warning literally and appealing to the political class that this political shenanigans you guys are doing, you are responsible. Quite, I will continue to say, for every time democracy has been destroyed, apart from perhaps 1993, it is the political class that caused it. Their disagreement, their inability to put their acts and their house in order led us to...
A lot of times their selfishness.
Yes, their selfishness led us to the first civil war, led us to the bunch of their corruption or whatever, led us to the end of the Second Republic. And now we're in the Fourth Republic and we see people are just out of control, literally. Some of these guys in politics, they are just literally out of control. Please, you can do your politics, but remember the reason why politics is there in the first place is to get into office and use the privilege and opportunity you have to serve. The people, they are the supreme. Section 14 of the Constitution says supremacy, sovereignty rather, belongs to the people, not to the president, not to the minister, not to your governor, not to anyone, but to the people. All right, so let's get to what you're saying on the front pages of the social media before bringing our guest. Standing by in just a moment. Okay, this is on a lighter side. Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State has celebrated his 60th birthday. So Sanwo-Olu turns 60, and so that's a part of the highlights. You know, a jolly good fellow. He's always looking. Every time you go, he's either DJing or dancing. He just tries to integrate himself to culture. So this was the event organized, I guess, in his honor. And he took the stage with the musician that was performing to, let's use the words of skills, Sakade, shake body. They were shaking body. You know, so it was just cool to see. Something on the lighter side. Yeah. Just to see the governor making moves and dancing. I don't know what the dance step it looks like, but hey. But I don't think he did badly, by the way.
He didn't.
He didn't do badly.
60 sort of looks good on him.
Yeah, it doesn't look 60 at all.
It doesn't look 60.
It doesn't look 60 at all.
In that sense.
Happy birthday to Your Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Congratulations on your 60th. Wish you the best.
Okay, so that's, is that best? But,
yeah.
But you have to be careful. When you're 60, you don't want to jump too
Don't
much.
overjump before you jump to the stretcher.
You must give it to the governor. Right? He's one of the, will I say, jolly good fellows kind of governor in Nigeria.
And if you meet him in person, he's that kind of guy. He doesn't have that aura of, he's just a cool, just gets me by. Anyway. Let's go to the next one about this PDP reinstating Iron. Well, funny thing, Kayode and Bukola, when Damagun announced that PDP has actually reinstated Iron as the national secretary, well, Nyesom Wike fired back that there's no such thing as reinstated. The guy has always been there. Whilst we're still trying to process that, another shot was fired by Debo and the other NWC members saying, no. He's not being reinstated. As a matter of fact, the expanded caucus is not an expanded caucus. We're still holding our neck on June the 30th. And then I saw another letter of deputies. So there's been a flurry of letters. I think PDP needs prayers at this point. I think I now agree that they need prayers at this point. Anyway, let's hear the reaction of some people. Alex Obby says, PDP does not have the capacity to perform its role as opposition party in Nigeria.
You know, the challenge is that within the opposition party, there's a lot of opposition. So there are oppositions. There's the ruling party within the APC, the PDP rather, and there's several oppositions within.
No,
the PDP.
There are people in the PDP working for the APC.
That's what I'm
led by Nyesom.
There's the ruling party in the PDP.
He's not hiding it.
Opposition in the PDP, so you'll understand why the PDP is here. And Adetunji Sanwo-Olu says Wike's camp scores a win. Ironwood's restatement is a power move that reshapes PDP's internal balance. The game is far from over, especially when you hear the other side say, no, he has not been reinstated. I think Edu Funky is next, Bukola, and just also speaking to Wike's structure.
The Wike's structure are bigger than that of Atiku. Despite my opinion or the people's opinion, Wike has finally won the battle. I don't know who he's fighting.
Well, when you saw the PDP NEC members yesterday, and you saw those that were at that meeting where the reinstatement of Mr. Ayanwo as National Secretary was announced, then you would have known that there was problem ahead because it wasn't complete. There were other key members of the party that were not there. But hey, we'll explore all of that later on. Wike's structures, this is coming from
we've taken that
NECA Health, rather, who says multi-choice. Okay, I think we're done with the PDP now, and we're headed for another talking point.
The PDP member is going to be joining us later on the program, so we will expand that conversation around their internal wrangling that has not come to an end. And it's not something to laugh about, but at this point, what do we do?
So before we get there, Multichoice Nigeria slashes the price of DSTV decoder by 50%, and this got you talking on social media. NECA Health says, nice move, but let's talk about the subscription costs. The decoder is cheaper now, but can the average Nigerian afford to renew every month with the current economy? Pricing should reflect reality, not just marketing. Clearly, this is an ongoing conversation about, the value of what you watch and what happens when you're not watching and all of that. And this has been subject to litigation in the past, but has never really led anywhere. So the reduction of the price of decoder doesn't really do much for the average subscriber. But there's more coming from what you're saying this morning. And I believe that, Kadi, you have the next one from Chief Red.
Oh, yes. Chief Red says that it's not about decoder price. Stop wasting time. Just create a sports-only package and make it affordable. I think time and again people have talked about the reason why they subscribe some of those packages. So you have different options, right? For some, you subscribe for movies, maybe the streaming platforms. But for sports, a lot of people are big on DSTV. And that's something they've been asking for time and again. But let me take this moment, guys, ladies and gentlemen, to remind us about this digital switch over. I mean, what exactly is going on? Because I think we're doing a lot of disservice to ourselves by not really maximizing the digital switch over, having the direct to home and all of that. Because TV should not just be the the old school You should be able to get channels on your television just by it. I mean, why do you pay TV taxes, for example? Why do you have a television that has that option if you're not able to use it in Nigeria? So yes, there is a lot of conversation around DSTV, the package and all of that, but there's still a lot that we're not maximizing. The NCC has talked about this time and again, digital switchover, but we're where we are right now.
Thank you for the reminder to those who should have been reminded. And so where are we headed next on this one, Kayode?
I think EK also spoke about this, saying it should be free. You should only have to pay for subscription. All right. But the Kenyan protest, Nicola.
And that's last on the trends list. And we're going to take the video, but Kenyan protest against their president is gaining momentum and is turning into what seems to be a revolution. But let's have that video and then we'll come back.
Marked the one-year anniversary of anti-tax protests in Kenya. It's something that has gone bloody. This is a protest largely led by young Kenyans. So you can hear them time and again chanting, "Ruto must go, Ruto must go." Of course, Ruto is the president of Kenya. So it looks like that's what these young people want. The live coverage of the protest was banned by government. Just trying to do a lot of things to see that this protest doesn't go go down south, which it has gone already. But that's what you have from Kenya.
With 16 persons killed, it certainly has gone down south. And, you know, it just speaks to what can be a consequence of governance that is unsatisfactory to the people and how the people can revolt, you know, and it speaks to, you know, what really is happening across Africa and how democracy is increasingly becoming, you know, unattractive to the people because the outcomes, positive outcomes really, are increasingly becoming few and far between. So this is 1 year down the line, and one might ask, why are the issues yet unresolved, Kayode?
Oh, yes. I think the African Union... When last did you hear about the African Union, I should say, but this is a time for African leaders to really come together. Africa has a huge youth population, and if you're not careful, if care is not taken, we saw what happened with NSAS, we're seeing what's happening with the Ruto must go protests or the anniversary of the anti-tax protest. You can naturally predict what the future holds if the right things are not done. So it's a time for the leaders to come together and really, really have a long conversation about ensuring that we're able to harness the strengths of a young people, find out what do they want. Is this what you want? Fine. How do we achieve it? Because the previous generation that took, you know, a lot of the bad governance, corruption, and all of that, is not the same as this current generation, okay? Once they're not happy with something, they voice it out, they hit the streets. Yes, the previous generation also did their bit, but this current generation, as they say, doesn't have time for all of that. So the leaders have to wake up and realize that this is a ticking time bomb, and it's already exploding gradually in our faces with what's happening in Kenya.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, our guest is already here. I'll start with the security conversation. I'll get to politics.